Welcome to the WOW seat, WOWLYWOOD, aka the New Era Hollywood Connection Factor. I am New Era Cross-Functional Celebrity-preneur Advisor, AliNICOLE WOW, and I'm also the founder of the WOW Seat Media. And you can learn more about our other featured signature production platforms at www.thewowseat.tumblr.com. Tell you a little bit about this platform in case you are a new listener. Our WOWLYWOOD platform provides features of our new era celebrity-preneurs, and they are magnificently demonstrating their work while outstanding works in their primary industries and in this new era marketplace. And those that are showcased on this platform are either emerging new era celebrity-preneurs or they're cross-functional celebrity-preneurs, and they've been trained by me or they work with me as they're leveling up their worthwhile, outstanding works so they can demonstrate this new definition style combo of entrepreneurship and their celebrity power. And today we are joined by my top WOWLYWOOD celebrity-preneur experts, and they've all been featured on this platform, of course. And my senior star Cross-Brand Celebrity Protégé, and he's my chief multiplicity officer, Tom. We're also going to be featuring genuine leadership power enhancer, the magnificent Gina Gardiner, and of course, the chief and boss of Digital Media Empire Authority, none other than King Rob Deptford. And also, we're going to be featuring the business deconstructor, Chris Roberts. So you all are in for a treat. So a little bit about this particular segment. They've recently completed phase 1 of the Celebrity-preneur Shift, and I'm going to be doing a laser Q&A round with them to have them share a few highlights about their process. But first, I want to give a warm welcome back to my top celebrity-preneurs. So I'm going to start with Tom. Tom, welcome back.
Thanks for having me back.
You're most welcome. Gina, welcome.
Hi there. Thanks very much for having me.
You're welcome. And Rob, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. And Chris, welcome.
Awesome to be here as always.
Great. Well, by now you all should feel right at home in your WOWLYWOOD home space here. And I want to jump right into the Q&A. And I know that we've had a previous segment at the beginning of the process. And so, of course, we're going to do something very similar here with the Q&A round. So I'm actually going to start with Tom, since he's actually been through a similar process over the years with already being my star celebrity protege. But this experience for him was more of a refinement and a level up because he's gearing up for a higher level in the entrepreneurial space. So Tom, I'm going to start with you with the first question, and then I will go around to everyone else. So Tom, what did you like or find most interesting about this intensive process?
Well, I would say I like day 6 the most. Your financial celebrity-preneur factor. You know, it empowered me with some a new and very powerful way to unlock my finances.
Okay. Great. All right. Anything else you want to share about that before we move forward, or that was your, well, you did say that was your favorite part. So I guess we'll come back to you because I'm going to ask you all something else as it relates to that, to expand upon it a little bit later. All right. So Gina, what did you like or find most interesting about the intensive process?
It was really thought-provoking. It made me really review what I've done, where I've been, and it confirmed that I'm on track in terms of living my purpose and working towards achieving that. I'm very experienced at strategic planning, and fully conversant with, you create a plan and then you've got to be prepared to be flexible. But I think for me, one of the real pluses was recognizing that once I've written a book, created a product, done something, the energy of that is past, and that although that'll be useful for other people, I'd moved on through the process. And so for me, strategic planning now has become almost taken on a different trajectory, in that strategic planning is really important because that motivates you and gets the momentum going.
Absolutely.
But not to hold on to it, that holding on to what I have created before can hold you back. And so for me, it's the strategic planning to create the momentum and to maintain it, which has been, I think, something that's been quite illuminating.
Oh, great.
I enjoyed day 6 too. I thought that that was really powerful. But even with that, I think it's making sure that thinking is not based on the past, learning from the past, but actually using that as the rocket fuel, if you like, to move forward.
Okay, great. Thank you. Wow, you've kind of already answered the second one, but I'm going to come back to you still, to expound and expand a little bit more when we get to the next round of the questions. But yes, definitely, I appreciate that. Great. All right, Rob, what did you like or find most interesting about the intensive process?
Well, I would certainly echo what Tom and Gina have said. And I think for me, when I think about maybe a big picture thought for me around this and around the idea of celebrity, one of the things that was, I guess, became more clear to me was this idea that there are elements of celebrity that really have nothing to do with the marketing power behind the big stars that we know from television or sports or movies and what have you. And those are things that when we discover them for ourselves, we can harness that star power, if you will, for ourselves to leverage what it is we're doing and bring it to the world. So so that was a big thing for me. I found that really interesting and really opened my mind.
Oh, great. Awesome. Yes. And you all did phenomenal. I do want to say this real quick, going back to something Gina said about the strategic planning, is that as you could see that this process was really about a lot of master planning and really doing something completely unique and different, of stepping into your own unique space, as the illuminate stars that you are. And so I echo also what you said, Rob, in terms of what was brought out for you is that this was not about trying to create something that's already been in what we see and having the marketing power or, even having to do any of those things in the traditional celebrity space. So I really appreciate you bringing that aspect out as well. Right. So Chris, let's hear from you. What did you like or find most interesting about the intensive process?
I found out more about myself. I found out pretty much that, my skill sets, there was elements of the work that I've done in the past that you kind of leave behind in the back of your mind. And it was like going forward on each day, like day 1, day 2. It was a bit like the caterpillar turning into the butterfly.
Yes.
That sounds a bit fantasy and what have you, but it really was like that, because day 1 there was certain discovery, day 2 you were developing more, day 3 you got a bit more development. And it was like the jigsaw puzzle was all coming together, the bits just slotting in. So I think that's the way that the journey came together for me. But it just seemed like day 1, day 2, day 3, etc. It just seemed to time right as well with the development. So yeah, that was what I found most interesting.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that it all just built upon each other. Great, wonderful. I love the analogies that you shared. I metaphorically leveraged the butterfly aspect in a lot of my works as well. So I really appreciate that. Okay, so we're going to come back to Tom Tom. How did this process evolve or expand you? And I know some of you have already touched on that, but I'm going to come back to each of you because I want to hear a little bit more. But Tom Tom, let's hear from you.
Yeah, this process is giving me the cheat code to unlock unlimited funds and all my dream manifestations.
Okay. He said the cheat code. I guess it can feel like that, even though there is absolutely no cheat involved when there's the working that it takes to actually, unlock those codes. But you're right, being able to expand and evolve through the unlocking certainly puts you at a higher vantage point that most will never reach that level of potential without coming through a process such as this one. All right. Thank you, Tom Tom. Gina, how did this process evolve or expand you?
I think for me, the big thing has been an even greater confidence in my capacity to step out of the known.
Yeah.
To be prepared to let go of needing to have that illusion of being in control and to just allow the flow to go and recognize that in that illusion of control, it's about what's gone in the past. And I think for me, what I've recognized is that this is like opening a door into a whole new land.
Yes.
And if you open the door and you're prepared to step through, the map is not the territory. And I think that most of us have a map, a blueprint of what we think things should be. And part of this process, I think, has helped me have the confidence to let go of anything that I thought was how it should be, and the confidence to step into that potential.
Yes.
And allow myself to grow to meet it, rather than trying to hold on to old stuff. And so that's particularly important in terms of my purpose. It is pretty big, but what I recognize is that that I have the capacity to do more than I ever thought possible, and to do that more easily than I ever thought possible. That the struggle is only what I put in the way.
Wow. Wow.
So for me, it's all about an expansion.
Yes, definitely. And as you say, it speaks so poignantly to your purpose as a leader of creating this new definition of limitless leadership and that example. And so this just expanded you more into your unlimited potential. So great. Thank you so much. That was awesome. All right, Rob. So how did this process evolve or expand you?
Well, a number of ways, but one that stands out for me, I think, is, day 6 has been mentioned a couple of times. And for me, day 6, I think, was probably day 10 or day 12 or something. I got a little hung up on day 6. And the reason really was because it felt awkward, quite honestly. That's day 6 is the money talk, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah, a whole new financial world. It is.
Absolutely. And, I was raised, like a lot of people I know were, not to talk about money. Like, this is not a discussion topic, right? And so to really delve into the whole concept of money and currency and wealth and go just beyond the, in entrepreneurship, sometimes we hear, follow your passion and the money will follow, things like that. There's not a lot of clarity in that. It's a little bit vague or ambiguous.
Yeah, they didn't tell the in-between that if you follow that, there's going to be, your stomach growling quite a bit in chasing that passion. But you'll get there, but they don't share kind of the in-between, that there's a different way of being able to have both, as you're going along.
And that's a great way to put it, because it is that in between that I, through this process was sort of forced into exploring.
Yeah, right.
and reframing my mindset around that. And so that was a breakthrough for me, for sure.
Oh, awesome. Great. I'm so happy that you shared that, because you're right, that can pose a lot of challenges, for entrepreneurs. I mean, for several. But it's interesting is because if we're entrepreneurs and we're in business, the money aspect has to be there. Otherwise, you're just a nonprofit. But it is the growth and evolution that does cause us to shed away other conditionings, whether they were things passed down or just social conditionings. And so I am happy to hear about your growth and expansion, in that particular area. Wonderful. Thank you. All right, Chris, let's hear from you. What did this process do to evolve or expand you?
Well, day 7 was definitely butterfly day.
Cocoon launch day, right? Yeah.
And the reason why is Tom actually hit on it before when he mentioned the cheat code. And I think day 7 was the kind of realization that everything that we've been doing on each day had come together. And knowing that we were making a difference before, we now have a blueprint to keep expanding and keep evolving as well. Yeah. So again, I was referring back to the many skills that we have and probably haven't used for a while. But now you chuck all those skills just in one big soup, and we boil the soup up and we have this great meal at the end of it. And
gumbo, right?
And with the day 7 blueprint that we have, that isn't set in stone either. We can manipulate that.
Yes, absolutely.
We can adapt it into so many different areas. So I definitely feel there was an evolution or an expansion for me personally at the end of all of that.
Oh, definitely. And I could tell with each of you, the process, that where you started and what's emerging, and also a great point in terms of the tentative plan or master plan that has been created definitely can be tweaked. I always like to say leave room for divine editing. You create and set up, but don't be so married, to the plan. You allow it to expand and evolve, because it will. But having something in place allows you to be able to unlock those different codes, so that things can continue to evolve. So thank you. All right. So coming back to Tom, what excites you about moving forward into the next phase of this process?
I would say it's unlocking all my codes to tap into my, live my best life, as well as leveling up into my kingship much faster.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm chuckling because Tom has been on the decoding process for quite some time, but he's stepping into a higher level of it, and so this is a very exciting part of the journey for him, because he's ready to play full out, and as he says, step into more of his kingship, and it is going to take this higher capacity of unlocking this higher level of potential to be able to do that. And that is for impact and income. They work together like a hand in glove. So thank you, Tom. Appreciate that. All right. So Gina, what excites you about moving into the next phase of the process?
It is about recognizing that the opportunities are out there. And that I have the skills, the experience to capitalize on those, and in doing so, to help more people move forward so they can become the leader of leaders.
Yes.
And that really excites me. That sense of it being divinely led, and recognizing that the only thing that's going to get in the way is me. And I've made a conscious decision, and the process, not just this process, but in a sense this brought it together, was unlocking those opportunities and those possibilities, and recognizing that not only do I choose to do it, but actually I have the capacity to do it, and to do it with confidence and flair.
Wonderful. Yes, I love everything that you just shared. And that is so very exciting, because when you think about the people that you're going to impact, yes, and your continual expansion and taking them into these new dimensions of the leadership aspect, yeah, it's just wonderful. It is holistically exciting. Thank you so much. All right,
Thank
Rob. You're welcome. Rob, what excites you about moving into the next phase of this process?
Well, I think it's the action part.
Yeah. Gotta
We've got
have
the
that,
lights
right?
and we've got the camera rolling, so it's time for the action. And I've talked before with you about how strategy is my top strength, and
Yeah,
I'm terrible
right.
at implementing. So so I've been working with my strategy strength, and I've been building some things kind of behind the scenes that I
Yeah,
haven't mentioned to everybody yet,
right.
but that'll come. And I'm excited. I think that if everything works like I anticipate, I'm going to have an opportunity to put my customers and my partners, people like
That's
the people
right.
in this group,
Yes,
on a significant rocket ship.
absolutely. Shooting for the stars, right? That they are. Rocket,
I
right?
think so. I think so.
Yeah,
So,
I'm
that
excited for you.
I'm excited. That implementation piece is coming, and that's a
Yeah.
result of being in supportive groups like this, right? So
Awesome. That is music to my ears. Thank you so much for sharing that. Wow. Woo. Yeah, that is definitely exciting. And the action is critical, because plans without the implementation are they're just plans, you got to move it into motion for sure. All right. So Chris would like to hear from you. What excites you about moving into the next phase of this process?
Again, going back to something that Rob mentioned earlier, day 6 and finances, and talking about money. We've been, like, I've been running the Dragons now for 12 years, and everything that we do, or everything that we have done, is all not for profit. And we've devoted a lot of our time, our soul, and our money, our own money, into doing what we've done in the past. And I think this has got us an opportunity where we can do something alongside the Dragons that we can quite happily ask for money for doing, because we think we've learned enough, and we think that we've got enough skill and enough knowledge now to actually put something alongside the Dragons and say, if you want to achieve stuff that the Dragons achieved, well, if you put this into practice, pay for our knowledge, we will share.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the exciting part about it, that we've done our journey for not for making any profit, but now I believe that now is the time that we can start getting our rewards from what we've done in the past.
Absolutely. I call that the benevolence angel shift. When you have been benevolent, and you have definitely sown seeds, and others have reaped a harvest, but you've reaped a harvest as well in knowing that you're making an impact. But then there comes the time where you have the duality of the impact and the income. So I'm very excited for you, and excited that you are excited about that aspect, because that is very important in this celebrity-preneur shift, indeed. All right, so going to come to Tom. What advice or empowerment would you give to emerging celebrity-preneurs who will also be going through this process?
I would just tell them to enjoy the journey and stick with the process. You'll be amazed at your level of growth and the gifts and the powers that you unlock for yourself.
Oh, definitely. Thank you. That is very empowering for sure, and very important. All right, Gina, what advice or empowerment would you give to emerging celebrity-preneurs who will be going through this process?
I'd say resistance is futile, because ultimately the more you resist, the more difficult the process becomes.
Yeah.
That if you get out of your own way, if you deal with anything that's holding you back, past baggage, stuff that's keeping you playing small, you give yourself permission, and make sure it's your own permission. Give yourself permission to fly. I mean, you often use the analogy of a caterpillar, and that, you know, this is not about turning into a bigger caterpillar, but turning into a butterfly, which is a very different organism. And so and I smile about the resistance is futile, because I think we all go through times when we know, we can see the sense of something, but it feels too hard or too unfamiliar. But ultimately, once you let go of that resistance, life gets easier. And I would say, you know, the only person who's going to keep you limited and playing small is you. And ultimately, this is about not just you, because by holding yourself back, that's one thing, but you have a big purpose, all of you, all of the people that in this group and the people that you work with. And you're not only holding yourself back, but all those people who would otherwise be able to help. And it's time critical, and we need people to step up.
Absolutely. Thank you. Well stated. We absolutely do. And that is a very signature empowerment for sure, for those who will be coming into this process. And then also too, just reiterating for those who are in the process, that, yeah, it is time to move your gifts into the world. So Rob, thank you, Gina. Rob, what advice or empowerment would you give to emerging celebrity-preneurs who will be going through this process?
Well, maybe in somewhat the same vein as Gina, I would just say, you know, stay open-minded about it. I know for me along the journey, there were a few things where I sort of scratched my head and wondered a little bit, like, what's this all about? But as you go through it, you realize what really is happening, and so stay open-minded about it, because things are changing, and this is how we learn, right? And we have to adapt and learn these new ways to evolve with what's happening out there in the world. So
absolutely,
it's it's an interesting journey for sure.
Thank you, Rob. Yes, it is. It is. And those were powerful words of wisdom for sure. Thank you. All right, Chris, quickly, what advice or empowerment would you give to emerging celebrity-preneurs who will be going through this process?
Well, I actually wrote the words down before we came on. And what I said was, don't let self-doubt get in the way of your journey. Take the ride and just be yourself. Your uniqueness will blossom as a result. And it's funny that everyone has mentioned the journey, and it really is about the journey. You know, I always believe that there's 3 Ds in life, not 3-dimensional, but 3 Ds as in words. So it's decision, destiny, and destination, and that is all about the journey.
Yes, definitely, definitely. Wow, powerful, powerful. That is, oh, that's great empowerment for these emerging celebrity-preneurs. I mean, that's a great empowerment for all of us here to embody those 3 Ds, you know, for sure, because that's a continuation, you know, as well, of being able to make the decisions and really define our destiny and ultimately get, you know, to that destination for sure. All right, so before we close out, I'm going to start with Tom Tom. Please share at least 2 platforms where others can learn more about you and your works.
They can go to my Tom Tom Publications Tumblr page. It's tomtompublications.tumblr.com, or they can go to my LinkedIn at Tom Tom Singleton, or email me at tomtompublications@hotmail.com.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. And Gina, share at least 2 platforms where others can learn more about you and your works, please.
So go to the website, ginagardinerassociates.co.uk. I'm on LinkedIn too. Also, the Genuinely You in YouTube, it's Genuinely You with Gina Gardiner, or you can email me, gina@genuinely-you.com.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. And Rob, please share at least 2 platforms where others can learn more about you and your works, please.
So robertdeptford.com. Robert Deptford on YouTube, and then LinkedIn as well. You can find me there.
Okay, wonderful. And Chris, bring us home. Share at least 2 platforms where others can learn more about you and your works.
www.northwalesdragons.co.uk, and I'm also on LinkedIn as well. And if you search for Chris Roberts North Wales Dragons, you'll find me.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Well, listen, thank all of you for being here and being able to share about your process, just elements. I thought it was really, really important. And I am actually going to have a link in the show description for others to hear the first segment that you all did for the group panel. So it will give them some more context to this particular segment. And also there's going to be a link in the show description of a segment where I actually go through what the process is, the 7-day intensive journey for the Celebrity-preneur Shift. So Tom, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Gina, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us all. My pleasure.
You're welcome. And Rob, thank you for being here.
Much appreciated as always.
Thank you. And Chris, thank you for being here.
Thrilled as always. Thank you.
You're welcome, you all. I just can't say enough great things about each of you. And that's why I'm super excited that our WOWLYWOOD audience and other WowSeat platform listeners will be seeing so much more of you all. And I just want to say thanks, listeners, for joining us on WOWLYWOOD here. And as I mentioned, we'll have some information in the show description, and you can see what everyone is providing and be able to explore their sites and the offerings that they have shared. All right. So want to invite you to follow the WowSeat Media on Facebook and visit www.thewowseat.tumblr.com so you can learn more about our other signature segments. And also you can learn more about me, 2 sites at www.AliNICOLEWOW.com and my press site, www.wowshedoesitall.com. Please be sure to join us for upcoming segments as we continue to showcase more of our celebrity-preneurs that are bringing new levels of wow to a new era marketplace. And you don't want to miss these 4 that have been featured today. So enjoy your week and stay blessed.